Hey teacher, so this video is for you if you have been looking for a few strategies to maybe switch up your teaching with Generation Alpha. And I know they're they're an incredibly difficult year group at the moment. And so I just thought these are possible strategies you could try. And if you have any of your own ideas, please pop them into the comments. And if you've used any of these and you tweaked them or they worked, please let me know. So the first thing is telling a story. So you may or may not have heard that storytelling is the biggest way to grab a viewer on any social media, really, any reel or TikTok. And Generation Alpha likes knowing the authenticity behind a person. They like knowing kind of how something got to where it is. They like stories. So you could either tell a story about yourself and your learning journey, or you could tell a story that links to something that you are teaching. If you're teaching history, you could start off with let me tell you a little story. And then you sort of make it more relatable so that the kids are like, wow, that's interesting. I didn't realize that, you know? So that is something you could think about in terms of specific topics that you're teaching, or even if you want to maybe calm a class down, you could tell them a story about yourself, makes you more relatable as a teacher, and they might sort of see you as more, I don't know if the respect level will change, but it could. All right. Number two, Generation Alpha needs to move fast. We know their lack of focus, right? So one thing you could consider is if you do stations in your classroom, trying to make them quicker. So where you literally only have to accomplish 1 to 2 objectives at that station, and then you are moving. No station should take more than, say, 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes at the absolute most. If you can do it in 5 minutes, even better. And basically, by moving quickly through the stations and solving the one problem that you're asking them to solve at each station, they don't have as much time to sort of get off track. Okay, so if you've done stations before, but you've used them where you have quite a large project that has to happen at each station, maybe each station takes I don't know, 15, 20 minutes, try to see if you can do stations in 5 minutes and have them moving around quickly, and then doing a little quiz even before or after they start the stations, right? Prepping them with a quiz to show them this is kind of what you're going to learn now. Let's see how much you know. And or doing the post quiz of seeing how much do you remember, just so it sort of sinks into their brain a little bit. Okay, number 3 is trying your best, and I know this is hard in certain subjects, but trying your best to link to their interests. So depending on what grade you have, if you do have a grade that is working with social media and watching things on TikTok, find out who are their influencers, what are they watching. I interviewed a teacher on my podcast, and she created a resource on Teachers Pay Teachers, which was linked to the Stanley Cup. I'll actually put the link in my down below if you want to check it out. And it's such a brilliant idea because the Stanley Cup is so popular with the kids right now that teachers were grabbing onto this resource because it is relatable to the kids. So if you happen to know kind of what their interests are and who they're following and what they're watching, and you can link products to that or link lessons to that, then you might be able to gain their interest and their attention for more time than you would normally get their attention. Okay, next is the jigsaw effect. So you might have heard of this before, but basically it's where you have specific groups and each group is responsible for learning one thing about the topic. And then the groups all kind of spread out, and one person from the first group goes to each of the other groups and teaches them the concept. And then the groups come, then all the people from group one. So let me explain it to you like this. Okay, so let's say, for instance, you are teaching about different types of nouns, and you have, 6 or 7 different types of nouns that you're focusing on. So group one is only responsible for understanding concrete nouns, and group two is only responsible for understanding abstract nouns. And group three is only responsible for understanding proper nouns. Then one person, only group one gets up to move. So once they learn their concept, only group one gets up. And one person from group one goes to each of the groups. So let's say group one has 5 kids, then those kids will go to each group. If you've got too many kids in that group, 2 people could go to a group. And then they explain to the group what common nouns are, and tell them they've got 5 minutes to explain it. So then they can come up with like a quiz. They can come up with like, how are you going to know that your group has understood what you're saying? Like, are you going to quiz them? You could show them how to create a quiz. Then they will go back and sit back together in their group. And the people from the abstract noun group now will get up and they will move to each group and teach each group what the one person who goes to that, like each group will teach what an abstract noun is. They will quiz their group and then they will come back and sit down. And then the people doing proper nouns will get up, and one person from each, like of all the 5 people in the proper nouns group, they will all move to one of the groups so that they can explain what a proper noun is. So doing something like that where the kids are teaching, it might help to empower them to feel like, well, they know, they're like an expert, right? They're the experts on that one particular topic. Okay. The next one is, if you're watching a video, and I've done this before and it really helps, give the students 3 to 5 questions before you start the video, where the answers are in the video. So they have to focus to try and find the answer for the video, or from the video, sorry, so that it does help to kind of create focus because they're looking for the answers. And then when they're done, they can compare their answers with a friend if you want, or if not, you can see they can tick their answers to see who found, the right answers. But that is something that can tend to help them stay focused. Okay. And the last one I have for today is one thing that I feel is important, and a lot of teachers don't always do this, but it's the knowledge side of things, right? So always, always, always tell the kids that knowledge is power, because a lot of kids today feel they don't need knowledge to do anything in life, but knowledge is power. And when it comes to certain topics, we often forget that students don't have the knowledge about a topic in order to understand or move forward with that topic. So what we can do to help that is, and I would do this before any lesson, honestly, math, English, history, it doesn't matter. Put a list of keywords up on the board and say, these are the words that you are going to learn that are going to come up in this topic. And let's see how many you think you might know. And if you want to make it almost like a game, you could have the kids either in groups or individually. They can write the words in their book, or they can, in the group, they can write them on flashcards. You could get them to stand up and go into little groups in pockets of the classroom. And then you ask them a question about one of the keywords. Okay, so for instance, you could say, what keyword means that there's no one living in a place, that it's pretty much empty, even though there might still be buildings, but no one's staying in them. And they might hold up the word desolate. And you're like, that's right. If a place is desolate, it means it's completely abandoned. So by giving them the autonomy to learn these words together, well, I guess it's kind of goes against autonomy, but by learning the words together, their brain is prepared for moving forward with this topic, because they understand the new words that they're learning and their brain doesn't have to just figure it out. Anyways, those are my strategies for today for helping to teach Gen Alpha. Again, if you are still fully committed to staying in the teaching profession, I know there are a lot of teachers leaving right now, and you've got any advice or any ideas for teachers who might be finding it really challenging right now, I would encourage you to please put anything in the quotes below, in the comments below, what has worked for you? What is working for you? And yeah, just sending all teachers a lot of love, light, and laughter for the year ahead.